Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber, and this email, guys, is definitely one of the more entertaining stories I've done in a while. And I think if you guys watch the whole thing, because it's a little longer, you're really going to enjoy it. This story is about a guy, he's 24 years old, and he shares his story how ultimately he ended up kicking his girlfriend to the curb moments before he almost became engaged to her when her true colors, and not to mention the true colors of her mother, really came out. This guy truly dodged a big one. You're going to see, guys, that he was with her for 4 years. 4 years of trying to screen this girl, and he thought she was the one. Thought she was amazing, all that. And then you're going to see, guys, in the story, an event happens that changed the course of how things went until final confrontation, all that. And you're going to see, guys, that the big confrontation is she wanted to have an open marriage. And there's other things going on there, but this guy, knowing what he knows, wasn't having it. So it's quite the go in there. But a big important thing that this story is, guys, to show you, amongst many other things, is for you relationship guys, you got to pay attention to red flags. You got to trust your gut when it's telling you something's wrong. Pay attention to red flags and act on it, because if you don't, you will regret it. Also, you never, ever accept this open relationship, open marriage BS. If somebody wants that, they do not love you or give a crap. And that is this idea that that's the new thing now is a bunch of horse shit. It leads nothing but disaster in so many stories. And also, guys, back to the whole 4-year thing, he thought he knew her. You need to spend years with someone, and even then, you don't really know. They can pull something out of their ass, and you never know, and think, who is this person? So for your relationship, guys, the idea of meeting someone and getting married within 6 months or a year or something stupid like that, you're out of your mind. You need to spend years getting to know someone. So I'm going to go through this story. You guys will find it quite entertaining. So it starts off, he says, Hi SSM. I've been watching your channel for about a year now and have learned quite a bit from the stories that you share. Unfortunately, I joined the club that nobody wanted to be a member of, but such is life, I guess. I was on the fence about sharing my story, but if I can help someone else avoid the problem I faced, then why not? Bro, I appreciate you sharing your story. And to all the guys that share their stories, I'm grateful. And everybody else in the community is grateful too, because you guys are helping guys out all over the world. Guys, you would never believe you're helping out when you share your story with me. And provide great entertainment for many. I don't want to share my real name, but for the story you can call me John. Okay, John it is. It's a good, strong code name. Anyway, I'm 24 years old, and after college I found a good job in Virginia, which is where I also went to college. Originally, I'm from Nevada, but I don't get home very often or get a chance to see my family. The end of my story was about the middle of February 2022, but it's just now that I've been able to get my head right and talk or write about this. It was actually one of your other stories that made me want to tell my own. I can't remember the title, but it was about a guy whose wife asked him for an open marriage, and he made a date right in front of her and told her he was divorcing her the next day. I'm not nearly as savage as him, but that was my motivation to share my story with you. That was an extremely popular story. If you guys want to check it out, just type in YouTube Strong Successful Male and something about what he described there, and you will see it. It's very popular. I was in a relationship with a woman we can call Gail for 4 years. I met her at the end of my second year of school, and we had a lot of things in common. She was my second serious girlfriend, and I was still fairly blue-pilled at the time. I probably still am in some ways. I mean, everyone tells me I'm a nice guy, but I don't tolerate a lot of BS in my life, especially since I'm learning RP. I've always believed that you can have standards without being a jerk, so if that makes me BP, so be it. BP is code for blue-pilled. Let me interrupt real quick and say this. Yeah, guys, I want you guys to be good men, not a-holes. You can be a good man and have standards and stand up for yourself. You see, your typical nice guy pushover types in these stories are the type of guys, they are nice guys, they are good guys, but they let people walk all over them, especially women. They don't stand up for themselves, and they put out people's crap. Two main differences between nice guys and bad boys. Bad boys don't take shit from anyone, especially women. And two, bad boys put themselves first. So, bro, if you are the type of guy that doesn't take crap or BS from anybody, that's great. That doesn't make you a jerk. Now you need to start working on the putting yourself first ahead of everybody else. That's key, and that is hard for a lot of guys. And you will find people will give you a hard time about that. And if you encounter that, they're obviously the type of guys that let people walk all over them. So check people in their BS and put yourself first, and you're fine. Okay, I had to point that out. Anyway, he says, I guess you can call my situation a comedy of errors. I was really in love with Gail and had flown her home to meet my parents after we were together for about 2 years. My parents, married 26 years, loved her. Gail's parents were divorced, and I'd never met her dad. He lives in another state, and she doesn't talk about him very often. Red flag. Divorced. Daddy's not in the picture. Doesn't talk about him. Red flag. You want a girl that ideally the parents are married and happy and she has a good relationship with her dad, not him being out of the picture. That will influence her. And what about her mom? There's a question. What's her mom like now that dad's not in the picture? Very important things to bring up. Her mom is a marriage counselor, and without sounding too judgmental, she has a lot of strong, independent woman tendencies. Oh, and blue hair. So, your future mother-in-law is divorced, single, no man, blue hair, strong and independent, feminist, and a marriage counselor. Can you imagine how these counseling sessions are influenced? How many times in these stories these guys go to marriage counseling where their wives did awful things, and the marriage counselor, who's usually female, pushes them in the direction for him to reconcile and put up with her ways. Just remember that. I still remember the first time I met her. She was nice enough, but I still got the feeling she didn't like me very much. Well, she probably doesn't like guys very much at all. Over the years, she seemed to accept me in her daughter's life, but for whatever reason, she always has something negative to say about men in general. I never really paid her comments much attention, but maybe I should have. Hard to tell. Yes, you should have. But you were young. I mean, you're 24 now, so we're talking about when you were 20, 21, 22. So I'll give you a pass because you didn't know much. But you know now. It was after we had been together for a little more than 4 years, I decided I was going to propose to her and went out and bought a ring at the end of 2021. Smack! How old were you then? 24? Too young. Now you had 4 years in, and you thought you knew her, but you obviously didn't. Way too young, brother. You shouldn't be doing that shit until you're at least in your late 20s and really see more what she's like with money, life, situations, all that. But you were young. And by the way, guys, if you can hear the noise, it is pouring rain here. I haven't done a video with it raining in a long time, so just bear with me here. I was still living under the assumption that if you love someone, life could be like a fairy tale, and after watching my parents' marriage, I really believed it was possible. Smack! Life is not a fairy tale, bro. Gail and I talked about the future, but I never brought marriage. I wanted to surprise her with a proposal that she would never forget. Dude, it sounds like the movies. Well, this was a proposal that you, my friend, will never forget, and, well, frankly, her. It was right before Christmas last year when my aunt on my dad's side called to let me know that my cousin Sandra, 18 years old, had joined the Navy and would be graduating boot camp in Great Lakes, Illinois on January 7th. I think that says Illinois. And asked if I'd be able to make it for graduation. I love my cousin. She was like the little sister I'd ever had. We had grown up together, I babysat her, chased off the boys, and watched her grow from an infant to a beautiful young woman before I left for college. Of course, I'd be there to see her graduate. My dad was a Navy man, and I was very proud of her. Even though I was 6 years older, she had been a constant part of my life growing up until I left for college. I decided that I was going to ask Gail to marry me on Valentine's Day, 2022. I know, cheesy, but I thought it would be romantic and something she would remember. Gail and I had our own apartments at the time, but we stayed at each other's place on her place every day and had been for the last year. So pay attention to this part, guys. They're in different apartments, thank the Lord. However, they're always together, like every day, which is too much in my opinion, bro, I might add, but that's for another time. Anyway, I told Gail that I was going to go to my cousin's graduation in January and I invited her to come, but she couldn't get time off work. I ended up going alone and met my aunt, uncle, and my parents while we were there. I'd never been to a military graduation before, and let me tell you, it was awesome. It's amazing how emotional something like that is. After they did what they called pass and review, the ceremony came to an end and we found Sandra. She was happy to see us, and I couldn't believe how much she had grown since the last time I saw her. It was graduation night, and we all went dancing to celebrate with her in Chicago. It's funny, she's old enough to die for her country, but not old enough to drink a beer. It didn't stop me from getting her drunk at the hotel after dancing. We had a great night of dancing after we all had dinner, and our parents were taking a lot of pictures throughout the evening and posting them to Facebook to show the rest of the family. Pay attention to this part about the parents taking pictures of them drinking, dancing, and putting it on Facebook. This is going to come back in the story, guys. It was a great weekend and an experience I'll never forget. The good news is that after my cousin gets out of her primary school in Pensacola, Florida, she has a really good chance of getting stationed near me in Virginia. We're keeping our fingers crossed. When I returned home at the end of the weekend, I was expecting Gail to pick me up at the airport, but she wasn't there. That's strange. When I called her, she told me that something came up with her mom and she apologized for not being there to pick me up. Well, that's freaking rude if she was telling you she's going to pick you up and she just wasn't there. What could be going on? I ended up taking a taxi from the airport and didn't think much of it. Fast forward the next couple weeks and I didn't know what, but it felt like something was off. For instance, I mentioned that we spent every night together for the last year, but suddenly she was spending her evenings at her own place. She said it was because she had things going on at work and was busy and tired. I didn't really think much about it, but after a few weeks, it felt like she's becoming more distant to me. It was less than a month away from proposing to her and was starting to wonder if there was something wrong. So, if you, before the graduation thing, were together every freaking day, and all of a sudden you come back and now she's finding reasons not to hang out with you, making up excuses, and obviously a whole lot sex, something's going on. Trust your instinct. Trust your gut. And you know something's going on. I'm not sure how to explain, but I felt like there was a distance in our relationship that hadn't been there before. I asked her about it several times, but she insisted that it was some work issues, and I let it go. We normally had a pretty high sex drive, and it wasn't uncommon to have intimacy 5 to 6 times a week. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew that something was wrong, and she wasn't telling me about, and it was making me nervous. I started to question if I had done something to make her angry, or if it was a good idea to go ahead with my plans for proposing to her. No, it was not a good idea to go forth your plans to propose to her because she's not being herself. Something's off. You need to sit her down and have a heart-to-heart and find out what is going on and not let her leave until she completely tells you what's up. It was around the first week of February that I sat her down to ask her if there was something wrong with our relationship, and she insisted that everything was okay. Bullshit. It's funny, when you spend so much time with someone, you can see changes in their behavior like a bright flashing neon sign. It was after I confronted her that she started to show me more attention and seemed like things were going back to normal. But there was still something that I couldn't explain that was off. It was about a week later when I found out what was going on. Trust your gut. You could tell there was a disturbance in the force, but he still kept moving forward. It was on Saturday, February 12th, that everything changed. We had made plans to have dinner with her mom that evening. Gail didn't know, but I was going to talk to her mom about the idea of proposing on Valentine's Day. You're going to ask the permission of her mother, the blue-haired, effeminist marriage counselor who's divorced, who doesn't like men, who obviously has issues with you, or likes you enough, as you said, and get her permission? Can't wait to see what happens. Well, I know what happens, but you guys will see. I would have had the talk with her dad, but he wasn't in the picture. I knew I was running the risk of her mom ruining my surprise, but I wanted to make sure her mom was on board with me proposing. Nice guy behavior. I would have just done it. But then again, things worked out that, well, you'll see. He says, I'm not a chef, but I consider myself a pretty good cook. I decided to order in for dinner because I wanted the evening to be special. And not to sound like a wimp, I was pretty nervous. Gail and her mother arrived at my house around 5 p.m. and I wasn't sure if it was how nervous I was and seeing something that wasn't there. But it felt like they were both nervous too. My first thoughts were that Gail found the ring I bought for her and they thought I was going to propose to her that night. I didn't think she found it, but my mind was all over the place. After dinner, we were sitting at the table talking, and this is when things went from strange to surreal. We've been talking about plans for the future, and her mom shocked me a little. I mentioned before that she's a marriage counselor. It was almost 20 minutes after dinner when she started asking me some very strange questions. At first, she asked me what my views on marriage was, and I had a sinking feeling in my gut that Gail had found the ring and my surprise was busted. I told her about my parents' marriage and how I saw a good marriage. She was nodding, but it felt like she was inspecting me like I was an insect. She then said something that changed everything. This was pretty close to what I remember her saying. She said, traditional marriages don't really work anymore. Whatever could she be referring to? I really didn't understand what she was talking about. What other kind of marriage was there? I asked her what she was talking about. She said that it was 2022, and the idea of a monogamous marriage was outdated, and she spent several minutes talking about divorce rates and happiness in marriage. I had no idea what was going on, and I asked her if she thought that marriage in general didn't work. She said that on the modern age, a marriage was more likely to be between more than just two people, and that now that women were able to provide for themselves, men needed to accept that it was okay for a woman to love more than one man. What a steaming pile of crap. This is from the blue-haired, effeminist, strong, independent, empowered, divorced, alone marriage counselor. Gee, somebody's not a little biased here. I had no idea what the hell she was talking about. I'm pretty sure the frown I was wearing was telling them what I thought about this whole idea. Yeah, the whole idea is bullshit because it doesn't work. And they make the argument, marriages don't work either because people are unhappy and they get bored. And there's a lot of truth to that, which is why, in my opinion, simply having, if you do a relationship, but without putting the ring on, and when a time comes where the marriage laws are balanced, equal between men and women, which they're not, and people have a clue how to treat each other and all that, then maybe things can work. But we're far away from that point in time. But the open marriage, they never work. How many stories have I done? Maybe she got to watch my channel. Her mom asked me if I had ever been in an open relationship before, and I told her no. She asked me why not. I told her the truth. I thought the idea of an open relationship was disgusting. I'm not sure if it was my reaction or her opinion, but she said that I was acting insecure. The age-old, a man tries to stand up for himself and has some standards, and he is immediately labeled insecure or weak. But if a gal wants to do the open marriage thing, she's brave and empowered and strong. What a load of crap. She said that a man didn't own his wife and he should be happy if she was happy, even if it meant that she was able to find her other things in life with other men. I asked her if she was serious, and she generally seemed shocked at my question. I was going to say unbelievable. It is believable because I've been doing this long enough to see this and hear this. But I'm sure it's unbelievable to a lot of you guys, particularly you newcomers to the channel. A man doesn't own his wife. Then don't get married. Because call me crazy, call me old-fashioned, but if you actually really love someone, you don't want them being touched by somebody else. And this never works. I had no idea what was going on, but it was not how I was expecting that evening to go. I bet, dude. 4 years you were with her and you thought you knew her. Maybe that blue-haired, effeminist, empowered, strong, man-hating mama of hers should have given you a clue because she's going to influence her daughter. Remember, guys, I tell you how important it is to get to know the girl's family. See what they're like, because they're going to influence her. I looked at Gail, and she had a nervous look on her face. I asked her where this all was coming from. Her mom tried to interject, but I politely asked her to be quiet. Good. Tell the blue-haired bitch to shut the fuck up. I asked Gail again what was going on, and after a few minutes of silence, she said she wanted us to be in an open relationship. Talk about taking the wind out of your sails. I don't know how long I sat there staring at her, trying to come up with something that would tell me that this was all a joke. I had nothing. I asked her where this was coming from. We spent 4 years together. I thought things were fantastic. She said she thought we could be more fulfilled if we opened up a relationship, and I was completely dumbstruck. 4 years, and you thought things were fantastic. Her mom started trying to talk about statistics and how monogamy was an outdated model. Bitch, shut the fuck up. Take your blue ass out of my apartment. It was the first time in my life that I felt completely out of control in my life. Her mom went on for about 10 minutes. Oh, I believe she could babble on for 10 minutes. But I wasn't really paying attention to that nonsense that was coming out of her mouth. You mean diarrhea? I asked her mom why I should pay full price for something that my significant other was going to give to other men for free. The entire idea was ridiculous. I was watching Gail for the life of me, I couldn't understand where this was all coming from. After a little while, I asked her mom to please stop talking and ask Gail what was going on. That was when she blew my mind. She said, I know you cheat on me when you're in Chicago. I love you and I want to spend the rest of my life with you, but if you're going to sleep with other women, I'm going to sleep with other men. I'm not sure my mouth was hanging open at that point, and I asked her what she was talking about. Well, hang on a second. We all remember he went to Chicago to see his cousin, who was 18, graduate from the Navy, a boot camp, and they went out and had a party, and they were all dancing and having drinks and taking pictures, and the family was putting pictures on Facebook. Wait a second. His family was putting pictures of Facebook. Did she actually think that his cousin, the girl, was someone he was having a fling with? Let's see. She said she saw pictures on Facebook of me dancing with that woman at the club. What a moron. She said at first she was just going to break up with me, but her mom convinced her to work it out. Oh, well, thanks, Mom. Then she admitted that she had been spending time with one of her coworkers to make us even. It felt like something had ripped my heart out and hit me with a sledgehammer. So she thought you were cheating with the girl on Facebook that was your cousin. And so immediately, instead of talking about it, whatever, she just went out and slept with some other dude to make you even. Yeah, this is a great girl to be in a relationship with. Someone that has to keep score and can't communicate and et cetera, et cetera. And not to mention the blue-haired a-hole mother-in-law. I asked her if that was why she seemed so distant after I came back, and she said she didn't have any feelings for the other guy. It was just physical, and her mom convinced her, ding, 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 that she had the right to explore her options the same way I was. I don't know if you've ever been punched in the face, but that was what my entire body felt like. Bro, I've been punched in the face many times because I've been in many fights in my life, and I know exactly what that feels like. And it's the worst when you get hit in the nose. I asked her if she had been intimate with other men, and she said it was only fair since I was cheating on her. That was the moment my entire body went numb. The last 4 years of my life have been completely wasted. I felt sick to my stomach, and I had no idea what to do. That was when her mom started talking again. There's a surprise. She said that now that we're even, a polyamory relationship was probably the best way forward, so we were both on even footing. What a bunch of bullshit. People pay her for advice. I think that was the first time I'd ever experienced that level of pain in my entire life. It almost felt like an out-of-body experience sitting there watching these women that had just destroyed my life. I'm not sure how long I was sitting there, but I eventually got up and went to my room and got the ring I bought for her and returned to the dining table. I set the open ring box on the table in front of both of them, and Gail's eyes opened wide in shock. Until the day I die, I don't think I'll ever forget what I said to her. Now listen to this. He says, I was going to marry you. I loved you and only you with everything I had. I wanted to build a future with you, have children with you, and grow old and die with you. I never cheat on you. The woman you saw me dancing with was my cousin that I went to see graduate boot camp. Man, I wish I could have been in that room wearing the invisibility cloak or flying the wall, seeing that whole thing go down. Gail's face went ghost white, and her mom looked like she was in shock. Gail asked me what I was talking about, and I told her the cousin I went to see graduation was the woman that I was dancing with. She started saying she didn't know and that she assumed my cousin was a guy since it was the military. That was when the tears started. Shocker. Her mom was telling me it was a misunderstanding and I should give her a chance. I'm not sure if I'm more disgusted or pissed off. Gail tried to wrap me in a hug crying, but I pushed her off me. I'm not sure, but I don't think I'd ever been more furious in my entire life. Nobody can blame you, brother. Gail was pleading with me to understand that it was just a misunderstanding and we could get past this. How are you going to get past this? You've shown your hand. You've shown how you handle and resolve problems. And you go to your blue-haired wacko mother to give you horrible advice, and that you think I want that as my mother-in-law? Oh, hell no. I told her that if she thought I was doing something with another woman, all she had to do was ask me and I could have explained it. Instead, her solution was to go F another dude. I was beyond furious. I'm not going to lie. If she had been a man, I would have beat the crap out of her. I grabbed the ring box and got up, and they were both trying to get me to calm down. But I was done. I told them both to shut the F up and get out of my apartment. High five, brother. That only caused Gail to start crying harder, and her mom started defending Gail's actions as reasonable. I think it was the first time in our relationship that Gail heard me raise my voice. I told them to shut the F up and get out. I glared at both of them a few minutes while doing my best to not do something stupid and went into my room. Gail tried to get me to talk to her through the door for a while, but when I told her that if she didn't leave, I'd be calling the police, they stopped bothering me. As much as your heart's being ripped out, man, and I feel bad that this happened to you because you were with her for 4 years and thought you had something great going on, at least the silver lining in this whole crazy story is at least this happened before you got married. I mean, you could have been married to her, and the second things didn't go right, she'd have to go one-up you and get even with you, and you'd have that blue-haired, babbling moron as your mother-in-law and the grandmother to your future kids. Over the next couple of months, Gail tried to get me to talk to her, but I was done. I gave her 4 years of my life, and the first time she had a question about something I was doing, she couldn't give me the respect to simply ask me what was going on. In hindsight, I probably saved myself some future pain. You did, bro. Trust me. If she was that immature, who knows what could have happened. Her first instinct was to sleep with someone else. Of course, that's been messing with my head, wondering if this is the first time in 4 years. Well, given the amount of stories I do, and since you've been watching me a while, you are aware of the probably more than 1,000 videos I've done between this channel and the other one, it is definitely a possibility she was cheating. You forgot to put the toilet seat in her apartment down? Cheat. You forgot to take out the trash when you were at her house? Cheat. Who the hell knows? When my parents found out what happened, they felt bad for me. My mom was urging me to not give up on relationships just because of one bad experience. But I'm not sure they understand just how much has changed since they first started dating. For now, I'm done with this nonsense, and I'm pretty sure that's the anger talking. Either way, I don't think marriage is something I want to risk my future on. I thought we had a great relationship, but a couple of pictures on Facebook destroyed my illusions. I hope there are guys out there that have better luck, but for me, I think I was spending my time focusing on my future without a relationship. Bro, focus on you. Heal. Figure out what your goals are in life, your purpose, your ambitions, and focus on that. Hanging out with your bros, spending time with your good family, you will heal in time, and you'll be all the wiser. You're going to be okay. And you got a whole community here that's got your back. Because something tells me this is going to be a popular video, and you're going to get comments from dudes all over the world. And you earned it. The good news is, I just found out last week that my cousin graduated from her primary school and got orders to Virginia Beach. Since I got a spare room, she's going to be moving in with me, and I'll be able to look out for her. Who knows, maybe she'll have better luck with love than I did. It took almost 2 months for Gail to stop harassing me, and I still have no idea if that was her mom put the ideas in her head or if it came from her. Trust me, plenty of ideas are in her head from her blue-haired wacko mom. It's just hard to accept that you dedicate so much time, energy, and love to someone and they can throw it all away without even talking to you. So that's my story, and I'm sorry if it's coming off as a weak beta, but I really thought I would be spending the rest of my life with her. Unfortunately, it was only a dream. Good luck to all. Brother, that was a hell of a story, and I guarantee you many will enjoy it. I'm so happy at least this shit went down before you actually got married to her, or even gave her a ring. Because now at least you got that ring, and you can hopefully go to the pawn shop and get something for it, or tuck it away for later in case you try to do this down the road. I don't think you're going to be doing that anytime soon. I quite frankly wouldn't recommend it in today's world, but you never know. But like I said, bro, focus on you, heal. It's going to take a while because 4 years is no joke, okay? Work on becoming the best version of yourself you can be. Whatever your job is, becoming the best at it. Get in good shape, be healthy, spend time with your friends, and keep educating yourself in this type of material. You're going to be all right. And if you're a relationship guy down the road after you healed, now you know, do even greater screening process. As for marriage, There's no law that says you gotta be married. You can have a relationship with a chick. Doesn't mean you gotta marry her, because look what could happen. But anyhow, guys, I thought this was a very entertaining story. A lot longer than normal, almost half an hour, but it's a good one. And again, it shows you never ever go for an open marriage or open relationship. It's a disaster. Pay attention to who your girl's family is. Pay attention if they're divorced, how the mom is, how the dad is, how she is. Take your time with her, all that type of stuff. And always trust your gut. It's your truth. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.